All right, so today we're diving into something that might not scream excitement right off the bat.
Okay.
Construction accounting. We're going deep with specialized accounts of construction industry. A deep dive into inner workings. It's from Meritorious Consultants, LLC.
Oh, interesting.
Now, you might be thinking like, okay, how does this relate to me? I'm not building a skyscraper.
Right.
But whether you're, fixing up your bathroom
Yeah.
or just curious about, how things get built around us,
Mm-hmm.
understanding how the money part of construction works can actually make you a smarter decision maker in a lot of ways.
I agree.
I actually learned this the hard way a while back when I had a bathroom renovation that just went so far over budget.
Oh, no.
It was like hitter costs and delays and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mess. I really wish I had understood more about construction accounting back then.
That's such a common story, and it really highlights why this stuff matters.
Yeah.
Construction account, it's not like running a little shop or anything.
Right.
Imagine trying to budget for your groceries like a year in advance,
Okay.
but the price of milk could triple overnight.
Wow.
That's kind of the challenge that construction companies face when it comes to material costs.
I see.
That's just one reason why their accounting is so unique.
So fluctuating costs, those are a big deal. But what else makes construction accounting different from what we see in other businesses?
Well, it really comes down to the fact that the work is project-based.
Yeah.
Each project is almost like its own little business,
Okay.
It has a beginning and an end and a whole bunch of moving pieces in between.
Right.
So unlike, say, a retail store that has a steady stream of sales,
Mm-hmm.
construction companies, they're juggling all these separate projects,
Oh.
each one with its own costs and timelines and regulations.
So it's not just about selling a product.
No.
It's about orchestrating this whole complex process
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
And that kind of brings us to the idea of cost centers. I remember seeing that term in the report.
Yeah.
Can you break that down a bit more? What does that actually mean?
Well, think of cost centers as a way to meticulously track every single dollar that's
Yeah.
spent on a project.
All right.
It's almost like having separate buckets for every type of expense,
Yeah.
So labor, materials, equipment, all those different things.
So you can kind of categorize them.
Right, and that helps contractors to keep a really close eye on where the money's going
Mhm.
and spot potential overruns early on.
So you can course correct if you need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's almost like a detective game sometimes,
Okay.
You're trying to figure out where every dollar went
Yeah.
just to keep that project on track.
Right, so a financial forensics investigation almost.
Exactly. And sometimes those clues can be buried pretty deep,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So let's say, for example, you're building a house
Okay.
and all of a sudden there are these unexpected foundation problems.
Oh, no. The cost of fixing that could really eat into the budget
Oh.
for other things like the plumbing or the electrical work.
Yeah.
So suddenly this small issue in one cost center
Right.
can have a ripple effect across the entire project.
Yeah, like a domino effect.
Exactly. One cost overrun can trigger this whole chain reaction.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And that's exactly why understanding cost centers is so crucial.
Yeah.
It gives contractors that, really granular level of detail. They need to manage those costs effectively and make good decisions throughout that whole project.
So they can see the big picture and the small picture at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the report also mentioned this thing called project-based accounting,
Yeah,
which kind of sounds self-explanatory.
right.
But is it really that different from regular accounting? What's going on there?
It's definitely more than just keeping separate files
Okay.
for each project.
Right.
Project-based accounting really treats each project like its own entity with its own financial statements. So this lets contractors actually see the profitability of each project in isolation,
Okay.
rather than just lumping everything together.
So instead of just knowing the company's overall profit or loss,
Right.
you can actually see which projects are doing well
Yeah.
and which ones are maybe draining resources.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It's like having this, financial X-ray
Oh, wow.
for each project,
Right.
giving you this much clearer picture of what's going on.
So much more detail.
Yes. So, for example, let's say a company is building a school
Okay.
and renovating an office building at the same time. Project-based accounting lets them see which one is actually more profitable,
Oh, interesting.
where costs might be getting out of control, and then ultimately where to focus their attention
Yeah.
for the best financial outcome.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
It seems like that level of detail would be super important for making those kinds of decisions about like future projects and stuff.
It is.
And like how to allocate resources.
Absolutely. It's a really valuable tool.
And that brings us to another interesting concept. I think revenue recognition.
Yes.
Now, this one might seem pretty straightforward,
Right.
but in construction, it's a bit more complicated, I think.
Yeah.
So why is that? What makes revenue recognition so different in construction?
Well, remember those milestone-based payments we were talking about?
Yeah.
So instead of getting paid like the whole amount up front,
Right.
contractors, they usually get paid at different stages of the project.
Okay. In chunks.
Right. So they might get a portion when the foundation is laid, another when the framing's up, things like that.
So it's like step by step
Yeah.
as you complete things.
Exactly. So it's not as easy as just like recording the payment when it comes in.
Right.
The timing of it all is really important.
Okay.
Contractors have to carefully keep track of how much work has actually been done at each milestone
Yeah.
and recognize the revenue accordingly.
So it's like a puzzle almost.
It is. It's like putting together this financial jigsaw puzzle to really get that accurate picture of like the financial progress of the project.
That sounds complicated.
It can be.
And then you have those dreaded change orders
Oh, yes.
that can really throw a wrench in everything.
Absolutely.
Right.
Change orders, they're just a reality of construction.
Yeah.
But they can make this whole revenue recognition thing even trickier.
I bet.
So contractors have to meticulously document every single change,
Okay.
get approvals, and make sure any extra costs are accounted for.
So it's not just about saying yes to every change.
No, not at all.
You have to actually like have a system to track it
Right.
and make sure it's reflected in the finances.
Exactly. Without a solid system for managing those change orders,
Yeah.
revenue recognition can become like a huge headache.
Yeah, I bet.
And projects can quickly veer off track financially.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So we've talked about the unique challenges of managing costs
Yeah.
and revenue recognition in construction. But how do contractors actually get a sense of like the company's overall financial health?
Well, just like any other business, construction companies rely on those key financial statements.
Okay.
So things like the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statement.
Right. Those are the big ones.
Yeah, and they all work together to tell this story
Okay.
about the company's financial well-being.
So let's start with the balance sheet then.
Yeah.
What's the story that one tells?
Well, think of the balance sheet as like a snapshot in time.
Okay.
It shows you what the company owns.
Mm-hmm.
So their assets, what they owe, the liabilities, and the difference between those two,
Okay.
which is their equity.
So like a financial inventory
Yes.
showing you their resources, obligations, and net worth
Exactly.
at that specific moment.
Right. And this is especially important for construction companies because of the huge investments
Yeah.
that are required for those projects.
Yeah, they have to put up a lot of money.
Right. So the balance sheet helps them to assess
Okay.
like their ability to finance those projects and manage debt.
So it's like checking their financial pulse.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. And what about the income statement then?
Okay. So the income statement, sometimes called the profit and loss statement.
Okay.
That one tracks the company's revenue and expenses
Okay.
over a period of time.
Like a quarter or a year.
Right. And it basically shows whether the company's making money or losing money.
So it's like a report card
It is.
on their financial performance.
Yeah, highlighting like profitability
Right.
and their efficiency.
Cool.
And for construction companies, the income statement can be super valuable for tracking the profitability of each individual project,
I see.
thanks to that project-based accounting we were talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So by analyzing the income statement, contractors can see which projects are like the stars,
Yeah.
the ones really contributing to the bottom line. Right.
And they can identify any projects that might be dragging them down.
Yeah, for sure.
And that brings us to the cash flow statement,
Okay.
which focuses on the actual movement of cash
Okay.
in and out of the company.
So it's like following the money trail,
Yes, exactly.
seeing where the money is coming from and going.
And in construction, this is super important
Okay.
because cash flow can be really uneven,
Right.
you know, with those milestone payments.
Yeah.
There can be these big gaps
Oh, yeah.
between when they are spending money and when they are actually receiving money.
So managing that cash flow effectively is like walking a tightrope almost.
It is. You have to make sure they have enough cash on hand
Yeah.
to cover all their expenses
Right.
and keep those projects moving forward.
Right. To keep everything going.
Exactly.
So these three statements, the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statement, they all kind of work together to tell that story
Yes.
about the company's financial health.
Okay, so we have a good grasp of the big picture now.
Mm-hmm.
The unique challenges,
Yeah.
the accounting methods,
Right.
and those key financial statements.
Yeah.
But how does this actually play out in the real world?
Right.
How do construction companies manage and control their costs,
Okay.
like day to day?
Yeah.
What are the tools that they use?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
So construction companies, they have like this toolbox
Okay.
of techniques and reports
Mhm.
that they use to keep those projects on track financially.
Right.
And one of the most important tools is this thing called the WIP report,
Okay.
work in progress.
Right. The WIP reports, I remember seeing that in the report.
What makes them so valuable?
Okay. What makes them so valuable?
They give you these real-time insights
Okay.
into the financial status of each ongoing project.
Right.
So they tell you how much work's been done,
Mhm.
how much has been spent,
Okay.
and how much budget is left.
So it's like a constant checkup for the project.
Yeah, making sure things are staying on course.
Staying healthy.
Exactly. And that real-time visibility is so crucial for those project managers.
Yeah.
They can spot potential cost overruns really early on
Right.
and take action before it becomes a major problem.
Right. Catch it early.
Exactly. Early detection is key.
Yeah.
But you're probably wondering, like, how do they actually track all these costs
Yeah.
on such a granular level?
Yeah. Like, where does the rubber hit the road?
That's where these job costing methods come in.
Huh?
So things like time and material reporting that lets contractors track every hour of labor, every piece of material,
Yeah.
every piece of equipment used on that project.
Okay. So every little thing.
Yeah, it's not just about knowing the total cost.
Right.
It's about understanding how each element
Yeah.
contributes to the overall expense.
So they can see where those costs are actually coming from.
Exactly. And this helps them to identify areas
Okay.
where costs can be optimized
Right.
to make sure that the project stays within budget.
Right. Keep things on track.
And ultimately, to maximize their profitability.
So construction companies really need to be organized
Yeah.
and pay attention to all the little details.
Absolutely. They need to be on top of everything.
And of course, there's always the wild card of those change orders we were talking about earlier.
Those can throw things off.
Yeah, those pesky changes
Yeah,
can totally mess up a well-planned budget.
they can.
So how do companies manage those change orders effectively?
Well, change orders are a reality in construction,
Yeah.
like you said.
Right.
But managing them well is key
Uh-huh.
for staying profitable.
Okay.
So a strong change order management process
Mhm.
involves carefully documenting every little modification to that original plan,
Mhm.
getting approvals, and then making sure any additional costs are
Yeah.
billed correctly to the client.
Right. So it's not just about saying yes to every request.
No.
It's about evaluating the impact of the change
Exactly.
and making sure it's handled fairly
Mhm.
for both sides.
For the contractor and the client,
Yeah, that makes sense.
because without a good process,
Right.
projects can quickly spiral out of control
Oh, yeah,
financially.
for sure.
Mhm.
This is all really insightful. We've covered so much about the unique challenges
Mhm.
and methods and
Yeah.
all those tools
Mhm.
for managing costs in construction.
Yeah.
But there's another big piece of the puzzle I think we haven't really talked about yet.
Okay, what's that?
Taxes.
Right.
I know taxes are a headache for any business,
They are.
but it seems like in construction,
Mhm.
there's a whole other layer of complexity
yeah.
to consider.
Absolutely.
So before we get into all of that,
Okay.
let's take a quick pause.
Okay.
We'll be back in a bit
Sounds good.
to explore the world of construction taxes
Okay.
and all the ins and outs
I'm ready.
that can help you make better decisions.
Mhm.
Whether you're hiring a contractor
Right.
or just fascinated by this whole world of building.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back and ready to untangle this whole world of taxes in construction.
Yeah, it can get pretty naughty.
It sounds like it.
Taxes in construction, they really are their own beast.
Okay.
Accurate cost tracking, reporting, those are absolutely essential.
Yeah.
The IRS, they have very specific rules for how construction companies
Wow.
need to handle their income and expenses.
I bet.
And, if you don't comply,
Right.
you can face some pretty hefty penalties.
Oof, that's no good.
No, not at all.
So it's not just about, keeping good records for yourself.
No.
It's about making sure everything's perfect for the IRS.
Exactly. Dotting those I's and crossing those.
Making sure they're happy.
Right. And then there's the whole issue of employee classification.
Okay.
Construction companies, they often work with both full-time employees and independent contractors.
Yeah, a mix.
Yeah. And getting that classification right.
For tax purposes, that's crucial.
Oh, I bet.
Misclassifying someone
Right.
can have some serious consequences.
Yeah, that sounds like a tricky area.
It is. There's definitely a fine line there.
Yeah.
And it's easy to make a mistake.
Especially if you're not, super familiar with all the rules.
Exactly. And of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
there are all those deadlines to meet
Right.
for filing those tax returns and making those payments.
Right, gotta stay on top of that.
If you miss those,
Yeah.
you can get hit with penalties and interest charges.
Oof. More money.
Right. Construction companies really have to be diligent
Yeah.
about staying on top of those tax obligations.
So it's almost like a full-time job in itself?
It can be, especially if they're operating in multiple states,
Oh, yeah.
which happens a lot in construction.
Right. Projects can span state lines.
Exactly. And each state has its own
Right.
set of tax laws and regulations.
So you have to be aware of all of them?
You do. You have
Yeah.
to comply with the rules.
In every state where you're doing business.
It sounds overwhelming.
It can be, yeah.
So staying informed about all those regulations and deadlines,
Mm-hmm.
that's super critical.
It is.
Are there any resources out there that can help construction companies
Absolutely.
navigate all of this?
There are tax professionals who specialize
Totally.
in the construction industry.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they can provide guidance and support
Yeah.
to make sure you're in compliance
Right.
and to help minimize those tax liabilities.
So it's worth it to invest in that.
It really is for any construction company.
Yeah, it's not just about avoiding those penalties.
Right.
It's also about making sure you're taking advantage of
Yes,
any deductions or credits.
exactly, that are available.
Yeah.
Smart tax planning
Mm-hmm.
can really help construction companies
Okay.
improve their bottom line.
So it's not just a burden.
No,
It's actually an opportunity.
it is. It's about being strategic
Okay.
and leveraging those tax laws to your advantage.
So there's a silver lining
There is.
to that tax cloud.
Absolutely.
Let's move on from the potential headache of taxes
Okay.
and talk about something a little bit more exciting.
All right. I'm ready.
The impact of technology
Yes.
on construction accounting.
This is a good one.
It seems like the construction industry is really embracing these digital tools
They are.
like never before.
It's amazing.
We touched on some of these earlier,
Mhm.
but can you give us a deeper dive
Yeah,
into the specific technologies that are making a difference?
absolutely. So one of the most impactful things has
Okay.
been the rise of these cloud-based accounting solutions.
The cloud? Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
It's everywhere, and for good reason.
Okay.
So these platforms, they offer real-time financial insights,
Right.
seamless collaboration,
Yeah.
and the ability to access information from anywhere.
So you're not tied to your desk anymore.
No.
You can be on the job site,
Mm-hmm.
at home,
Right, because you have internet.
and you have all that information.
It's like having your accounting department in your pocket.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is, and that accessibility
Yeah.
and that real-time visibility,
Right.
it's a game changer for these companies.
Especially with so many projects.
Right. Especially those managing multiple projects
Yeah.
across different locations.
So they can track budgets, monitor expenses,
Mhm.
generate reports, all instantly.
Yeah, no more waiting around.
That's incredible.
That really streamlines things.
And I imagine it also helps with communication
Absolutely.
and collaboration.
Everyone's on the same page.
Right.
Project managers, accountants,
Mm-hmm.
team members, they can all access the same information
Yeah.
and work together no matter where they are.
So it eliminates delays.
Yes.
Reduces errors.
Mm.
And just make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It's much more efficient.
And I bet that real-time data access is super important
It is.
for making those quick decisions.
Well, that's
especially when things pop up unexpectedly.
construction projects, they're dynamic.
Right.
Things change all the time.
Yeah, you got to be able to adapt.
You do.
Yeah.
And having access to that real-time financial data
Mm-hmm.
allows those companies to adapt and respond quickly.
So they can stay on track
Right?
and minimize those financial risks.
Exactly. It's all about staying agile.
The report also mentioned the integration of project management tools
Yeah.
with accounting software.
This is huge.
Can you explain how that works?
So it's like creating this central nervous system
Okay.
for a construction project.
Interesting.
Linking those two systems
Yeah.
means you can track costs, monitor progress,
Okay.
manage change orders,
All in one place.
all in one place.
So it breaks down those silos
It does.
between the different departments.
Exactly, a much more unified approach.
Right. Everyone working together.
And it streamlines everything.
Okay.
No more double entry, fewer errors.
Right.
You get a much more complete view of the project's financial health.
And it probably helps with things like forecasting and reporting too, right?
Absolutely. You get more accurate budgets, better cost control.
So they can make smarter decisions
Yes, more informed decisions
throughout the project.
throughout the entire life cycle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we can't forget about mobile apps.
Oh, right. The apps?
Yeah, a lot of companies are using those now.
For field reporting and stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all going mobile.
It is. It's so much more efficient.
So how are those apps being used?
Well, they allow those field teams
Okay.
to log expenses, track their time,
Okay.
and report on their progress
All from their phone or tablet?
right from the construction site.
Wow, that's amazing.
No more paper timesheets.
Right, no more paper.
No more scrambling for receipts.
It's all happening in real time.
Exactly. So the data is more accurate.
Okay.
Those reports come in faster.
Yeah.
And those managers,
Yeah.
they get instant visibility into what's going on.
So they can really stay on top of everything.
They can. It's a huge advantage.
The report even mentioned a few specific platforms
Ooh, yeah.
that are being used a lot in the industry,
Like what?
like Buildertrend, Procore,
Oh, yeah. Those are popular.
Coify, Monday.com,
Hmm.
and some other project management software.
Those are all great tools.
It sounds like they offer a lot of features.
They do. They're designed specifically for construction companies
Oh.
to help them streamline everything
From bidding to accounting.
from bidding and estimating to scheduling and accounting.
So they can really optimize their efficiency.
Yes, and their financial management.
So it sounds like these software solutions
Mm-hmm.
are giving those companies a real competitive edge.
Absolutely. Technology is changing the game.
And I bet it's only going to get more advanced.
Oh, yeah. As technology evolves, we're
Yeah,
going to see even more innovative tools.
It's an exciting time to be in construction.
It is, for sure.
But before we get too carried away with the future, let's bring it back to the present
All right.
and talk about compliance and regulatory requirements.
Right. We can't forget about those.
We touched on this a little bit with taxes,
Yeah.
but it seems like compliance goes beyond just the financial stuff.
It does. It's a much bigger picture.
So what are some of the other key areas?
Okay, well, it starts with understanding the specific regulations
Okay.
for your projects and locations.
Right, so like zoning laws.
Exactly. Zoning laws, building codes,
Right?
environmental regulations,
Yeah.
safety standards, all of that.
So you have to know the rules of the game.
You do before you even start playing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then, of course, there's financial compliance,
Right.
which we talked about a bit with the taxes.
Hmm.
Companies have to stick to those strict reporting requirements,
Yeah.
tax regulations, financial transparency rules.
So it's not just about managing your finances well.
No.
It's about doing it ethically and transparently.
Exactly. You have to meet those requirements.
Okay.
And then there are the legal considerations.
Okay.
Things like contracts, dispute resolution,
Right.
all those legal aspects specific to construction.
So it's like this web of regulations.
It is. It can be pretty complex.
Yeah. And neglecting it can have consequences.
Absolutely. You can face fines, penalties,
Right.
legal disputes, damage to your reputation.
So you can't just ignore it.
No, it's really important.
What can those companies do?
Well, they need to invest
Yeah.
in strong compliance management systems.
Okay.
That might mean hiring compliance professionals,
Right.
implementing controls and procedures,
Okay.
and even using technology to track and monitor their efforts.
So it's about being proactive.
Yes, building compliance into the core of your operation.
Right. Making it part of your DNA.
Exactly, and you also have to stay informed
Right.
about any changes in those regulations.
So it's an ongoing process.
It is. It's constantly
You
evolving.
have to stay on top of it.
You do. Compliance requires vigilance.
And adaptation.
Sounds challenging.
It is, but the benefits are worth it.
Yeah.
Prioritizing compliance means you build trust
Okay.
with your clients, your partners, and the regulators.
And that can lead to more business
Exactly. It strengthens your reputation.
and ensures long-term success.
It does. In today's world,
Yeah.
your reputation is everything.
So compliance is not just about avoiding trouble.
No.
It's about building that foundation of trust and integrity
Absolutely.
that can really drive growth.
It's a smart investment.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
The unique challenges of construction accounting,
Yeah.
the evolving role of technology,
Mm-hmm.
the importance of sustainability,
Right.
and that critical need for compliance.
It's a lot to take in,
It is. It's a complex ecosystem
but it's essential.
for building the world around us.
It really is. Every structure we see.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what's next
Okay.
for construction accounting.
What's on the horizon?
Yeah, what trends are you seeing
Well, that's a great question.
that might shape the industry in the years to come?
And one we'll explore
Okay.
when we come back for the final part of our deep dive.
All right, so stay tuned, everyone.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone.
It's good to be back.
So before the break, we were talking about the future
Yeah, the future.
of construction accounting.
Always exciting to think about.
Yeah, it is. It's a future full of possibilities.
Absolutely. So much potential.
We've already seen how much technology has changed things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from paper ledgers
I know, right?
to cloud platforms and apps.
It's incredible.
What's next? What's the next big thing that's going to shake things up?
Well, AI and machine learning, they're really poised to play a big role.
AI. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, imagine software that can analyze tons of data
Mm-hmm.
and predict cost overruns, identify risks,
Okay.
and even suggest ways to optimize budgets.
That sounds like something out of a movie.
I know, right? It's like science fiction becoming reality.
So it's not that far off.
No, it's happening now.
And AI can also automate all those repetitive tasks.
Exactly. Free up those accountants and project managers
Okay.
to focus on the more strategic stuff.
Ooh. So it's not about replacing humans.
No, not at all.
It's about making them even better.
Augmenting their skills.
Exactly, making them more efficient.
Exactly.
And then there's blockchain.
Ah, yes, blockchain.
You talked about it a little bit before.
It has so much potential.
It's still a bit of a mystery to me, though.
Yeah, I know. It can be hard to grasp.
How would it actually be used in construction accounting?
Okay, let's say you're building a hospital,
Okay, hospital.
and you need to track those critical materials.
Yeah.
Like steel beams, concrete.
Make sure they're legit.
Right. Blockchain can create this permanent record
Okay.
of every step in that supply chain.
So from the factory to the construction site.
Exactly. Every step of the way.
So you know exactly where everything came from.
You got it. Like a digital fingerprint for each material.
That's pretty cool.
It helps prevent fraud,
Oh,
ensures quality control,
yeah.
and it can even streamline payments
How so?
by automatically verifying those deliveries
Okay.
and triggering those payments.
So it takes out the guesswork.
Exactly. It's all automated and transparent.
It sounds like blockchain could really build trust
It can.
in the industry.
And efficiency, too.
Yeah, make things run smoother.
Sure.
But technology isn't the only thing shaping the future.
Right.
There's also sustainability,
Yes, sustainability is huge.
environmental responsibility.
Companies are being held accountable,
Yeah, for their impact.
and that's going to change things.
We're already seeing things like green accounting
Exactly, where companies track their environmental performance.
alongside their finances.
Right, it's all connected.
So those metrics like carbon emissions, waste reduction,
Mhm.
energy efficiency, they're becoming super important.
Just as important as profit and loss.
It's not just about building anymore,
No, it's about building responsibly.
building for the future.
Exactly.
And this shift towards sustainability
Yeah,
is creating new opportunities for accountants.
it is. They're becoming experts in measuring environmental impact.
So the role of the construction accountant,
Yeah,
it's evolving.
it's becoming much more strategic.
They're not just crunching numbers anymore.
No, they're advisors helping companies navigate all these complexities.
It's a challenging field,
It is.
but also rewarding.
You're shaping the built environment,
Yeah,
ensuring financial stability.
and contributing to a better future.
Absolutely.
So we've come to the end of our deep dive.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, we've explored so much.
All those challenges, the technology, the sustainability.
Compliance, everything.
It's a complex system.
But it's how we build the world around us.
It's the foundation
We hope you've gained a new appreciation.
for the people behind the scenes,
The financial minds,
the ones making it all happen.
we encourage you to keep learning.
Ask questions, share your thoughts.
Dive deeper into this world.
Because construction accounting,
It might not always be glamorous,
but it's essential.
for creating the world we live in.
And it's only getting more exciting.
Well said. On that note, we'll sign off.
Thanks for joining us.
This has been The Deep Dive.